Hi Aries, welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina and I'm going to be doing your general read for upcoming time frame. Things have been crazy and like energy is so sorry, that was like a whole bunch of cards. Energy has been so like active that it's, I don't know, like I want to do it again, like I'm like things are coming out. I feel like there's just almost like a new storyline's presented itself. Unseen, that pops up in almost all of your reads. Okay. The unseen, the ring, the destroyer, the medallion, the riddle, the offering, and the eternal child. I mean, I kind of want to start with the eternal child, because Aries, like to me that's a U card. I mean, Aries are so like proactive and ambitious and excited and ready. Like they're always just like ready to do that next thing, and I feel like that's the energy that's coming through with the eternal child right now. It feels very like, I don't know, excited. Like I feel nervous. I don't know why. Like I feel shaky all of a sudden. My hair is like a hot mess. So I don't know if maybe you guys are experiencing some anxiety. I mean, I didn't feel this anxious before I started this video, and all of a sudden I'm like, I feel really anxious. But yeah, okay, so the eternal child, and then I want to go to like the medallion and the riddle. And I don't know if some of y'all could be dealing with somebody who's Scorpio in their chart, because for some reason that's coming through, but it's just like, but it's kind of like this, and explains the anxiety. It's this anxiousness of solving a riddle and getting the prize. Like I feel like there's this sense of urgency in understanding like what's really going on, like almost like an escape room. I've never even been to one. I don't know. I mean, like I've seen things about them, where it's like who's gonna get out of the room first? Like who can figure it out first? And I feel like you're in a room trying to figure some shit out before anybody else figures it out, because you don't want to lose out on a prize. I mean, in the unseen and the destroyer, I feel like you're like that's again that idea of the riddle. Like you're trying to like break through what you can't see. I mean, there's this idea of like, and again, that plays into the anxiety of just like this, like I have to break out. I have to break through what I can't see, because if I don't do it, somebody else will get out of the room first. You know what I mean? Like there's this sense of urgency present. And it feels like, I mean, with the offering and the ring, it feels like it's in terms of a relationship, and I want to say, just like keeping in everything else that's been going on in your reads, is that idea of like there's just been this person who you've been at war with, and like you've been constantly having to like ask yourself like, why am I at war with this person, and who am I fighting and why? I mean, that's showed up in your reads before. Just like being very reactive and never being very understanding of the other person, just always constantly reacting to them. They served as a trigger for you, so you weren't even, it was like, it's not that even that you're not capable of acting in a non-reactionary way, it's just that like something about this person like kicked your reaction like in high gear, so you were always reacting to them, and they had gone on with their lives. They were like, listen, I don't know what you want me to do. Like all you're ever doing is kicking me. What am I supposed to do with this? And they got on with their lives. And And I feel like that's the like the medallion and the riddle and the destroyer, you know, like having to really break through what you never understood, because if you don't, you know, somebody else is going to get out of the room first and they're going to get what you want. That explains the anxiety. Oof, that's real. Maybe take a walk, go for a run. Don't drink coffee. It won't help. Lay off the powders. Judgment. Eight of Swords. You know, I feel like that's been a theme in some of your reads. It's just this idea of like you're coming in as the judge to this person. You're like playing into that whole like reactionary response. You know, like you're afraid if they're judging you, and so you go in as the judge, you know, like, and you're judging them, and as a result, you know, like they're like cutting you out. It's so bad. And you're having to face the fear of not coming in as the judge, like going in and I feel like the judgment isn't even necessarily judgment, because I feel like this person's been pretty like honest with you. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like they've withheld their truth from you in any way. But like every time you come at them, they would be like, okay, but let's look at this now. You know, like, and you come again and they would be like, okay, but let's look at this now. You know, and it's that idea of I want to say like gaining an understanding into the whys behind what they were doing, because the idea of the unseen is a lack of understanding, you know, like the riddle. What you've never really taken the time to understand is this other person. You were always too busy reacting to them to ever understand them, and they were never able to really, I want to say, sincerely create a relationship with you that was sustainable. You know, it was just you popping in and reacting to them and then like leaving. And I feel like maybe you're starting to understand, you know, that like you can't demand things from people. I mean, I know you're very, you know, like this is what I want, this is what, and I want it now. But like when you're dealing with other people, like there's you have to put in the time and the energy and the effort to really you know, like know them and build a relationship with them. You can't just demand love of somebody. You can't just be like, you're the one that I want, and if you don't love me the way that I love you, then I'm gonna, you know, but you were never loving them. You were fighting them. You were like demanding of them. You were, you know, you were being triggered, you know, like you were just, I think, just like coming at them. And I think you're afraid of being judged for that, you know, like it's, I almost want to say like, if you do come into this understanding, which let's just do some more clarifiers before I keep talking. Sorry. Aries, I do want to say, you know, in terms of the whole drawing board theme that played out for a while, it wasn't ever your lack of desire to understand. It was your lack of willingness to take the time to understand sincerely. You know what I mean? You were just like your attention span is so short, and it's like if you you know, like that child that like you're already over here like squirrel, you know. And so, you know, like what you were wanting, I think, with like a childlike innocence, was like this romantic relationship. But what you weren't recognizing is that in, you know, like in the reality of it all, it requires, you know, I mean, like if you think about the idea of the ring and the idea of the offering, I mean, that's not a little kid that just demands love. You know what I mean? That's an adult that commits to love. And Seven of Wands twice now. And it really just kind of, it plays into that idea of like seeing outside of yourself. You know, like I want to say like seeing outside of yourself and into the unseen, because it was unseen to you because you couldn't see outside of yourself, you know? And I mean, the Page of Wands and the Ten of Cups is that, again, that youthful, because you guys have that like that passion and that youth, you know? Like it's hard to knock an Aries down. You won't stay down for long, you know, respect. But it's the idea of youthfully, you know, like with this excited mentality. Sorry, I'll get it eventually. With this excited mentality of moving toward emotional fulfillment. You know, like that's what the Ten of Cups is. The Ten of Cups is just like you've got everything that you need to concoct perfection. I mean, you know, perfection in I hate the word perfection, but you know, it's that idea of like, because it's, perfection is in the eye of the beholder, you know? What's perfect to one person is not perfect to another, which is why when you put people in boxes, it's hard, like people are surprised when you're like, well, I thought you fit my box. And it's like, but people are too dynamic, you know, like they're too different. Like we don't fit because of boxes. I mean, yes, there's something to say about having things in common, obviously. You want to be able to check off certain boxes, but when you limit yourself to those boxes and things don't work out, you feel like there's something wrong with you or something wrong with other people, and it's never that, you know. It's just people are dynamic. It takes more than a box to fit the pieces together, you know. Ten of Swords and Temperance. I do kind of feel like this truth really brings balance to you. You know, I feel like in a really big way, you've just been off balance. And I know that there's a part of you that really wants to like blame that person for you being out of balance. But what I think that you're like, maybe one of the things that you're not seeing is that you never gave them the opportunity to really, you know, like you only showed up in spurts and you showed up to kick. You know what I mean? And so they like, when did they ever have an opportunity? They had to show you over time. They had to reveal the truth of it all to you in pieces, because you would never stick around long enough to do anything but grab a piece and run. You know what I mean? And that was out of your own insecurity. That was from your own triggers. And it was never this person, you know, like mistreating you, or like they were just showing up to get what they needed when they needed it. You know what I mean? It was the exact opposite of that. And you might feel, I think, maybe a little bit, you know, like even again that judgmental of, well, they should have told me from the beginning, but like also you never gave them an opportunity to really share with you in its entirety, because I think in part, you know, you developed like there was a theme of mistrust. You know, like this person didn't trust you, and it was because you only ever showed up long enough to kick them and run. You know what I mean? So like not only were they giving you what they could give you when you were around to take it, but like also they had to be protective of themselves, because you were so judgmental of them that I feel like there was like an element of attack, you know, like you would attack them. And so like they can't expose everything to you if you're just going to use it against them. You know what I mean? Like, because you couldn't take the time to really understand what it was that they were even saying, you know, because they were saying, I think, something really big, which is why it served as a riddle. But I want to say what's coming through here is just, you know, in terms of the riddle, the medallion, the destroyer, is that like you've built up a wall, you know, like there's been a wall that's been created. And if you are going to have a chance, you know, it's that room, that panic room, you know, like, and you build up such a wall around between you and this person and fighting these battles with them, that like you're the only way you're gonna make it to the prize, like out of the room first, is to destroy the walls that you yourself have created. Nine of Cups, the High Priestess. The Ten of Cups again. Oh, I love it. The Nine of Pentacles and the Nine of Wands. Well, whatever. Over 6. I mean, this is the idea of like, I want to say the offering, you know, because Aries, you're the one who's trying to understand. You're the one that's solving the riddle. You're the one that's trying to like glean insight into the unseen. And so I feel like you're the one who's having to take the offering, because you were the one who would just show up to kick, you know, and I want to say, you know, what you're offering is this idea of you seeing clearly, you know, like how it is that you need to take your positive emotions, like take the positive things that you felt about this person and leave the triggers behind, you know, because the triggers were what were standing in your way, you know, and it's like I want to take what the good of this and move forward, you know, because I kind of feel like there's this idea of like you got swept away in all of your battles, and then you created a bunch of rubble as a result, and you want to pull yourself up out of that and take your positive understanding, because, you know, I want to say that you're coming in as the High Priestess, you know, like you're coming in with a fullness of knowledge and a fullness of understanding. You know, there's an evolution here, for sure. Sorry, because you have the Ten of Cups twice too. I love when that happens. You know, with the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Swords, you know, you have this, like, you're coming into this fullness of understanding of like what does love mean, you know, and why is it that I've been fighting this person, you know, fighting this person for love, I almost want to say, and why that hasn't worked in your favor. Because Aries, you guys are passionate, you know, it's not that you don't love people, and the people that you do love, you know, you ride for them so hard. Like, I don't want to, like, I feel like this is very like negative to my Aries, and it's not to negate any of the positive aspects of being an Aries so much as it is to recognize that sometimes, especially when something means like the most to us, it's almost like the scariest thing in the world for us, you know. And so I feel like you wanted this person in a really big way, and therefore were terrified by them, and just got lost in your triggers. You know, the Four of Swords, again, you know, just being confused, you know, like not knowing why you were doing what you were doing, you know, like I feel like how many times it has just been like, just breathe, you know what I mean? Like, just like, it's gonna be okay. And being just like, but still being confused. And the King of Pentacles, I kind of feel like that's the other person's energy. Because it's almost like this abundance, because you guys have been coming in as like the child, and I do kind of feel like there's this idea of like finally, finally, I just want to like, I want to be the one to sit with you and be in your care. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I get the feeling that this person really just, like, to you, they mean love, you know, like to you, like that they are the essence of the very thing that you want. Like, there's something very pure and innocent about this. Like, I feel like you lost your fight. I feel like you lost your fight. I mean, we have the destroyer here, and for once it doesn't feel misfocused. If you know what I mean. Like, for once I feel like what you're attempting to destroy is the wall that you built, the escape room. You know, like, you're like, I'm gonna break out of this room that I locked myself in willingly. Those things confuse me, but I have claustrophobia, so. um, but yeah, I mean, it seems like you breathe, like you took a second to breathe, almost. Like there was like this idea of, if I don't get out of this room first, I'm gonna miss out on the one thing that I actually want. And you started to breathe, and you started to clearly think and clearly see, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? How is it that I've gotten into this barricaded position? How do I cut away with this habit of constantly being triggered and leaving everyone confused? You know, like, how do I destroy that so that I can get to this? Well, that one just like fell right out. The Pilgrim. The Journeyman, yes, it does. It legit does. It has that feeling of like, of transition and growth, of gaining an understanding into yourself, of learning and growing and developing, you know, like it does. It has that feeling of evolution in it. It has that feeling of understanding, you know, like instead of being the kid who just shows up and kicks somebody and gets mad at them because you kicked them, you know, like like, I don't know, you know, and and developing an idea on what it means to, I almost want to say, I mean, like take care and be taken care of. That's sweet. I love it, Aries. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you'll have a fantastic day, and I'll see you again soon.